This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys go follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. Another loss today for our beloved Rays, but this one has me a little bit more optimistic than many Rays losses so far this year. Just the way that we see the potential lineup look for next year, even though this team only scored 2 runs today. I'll say a lot of that might have been credited to the umpire, man. There was a ton, and I'm not one to normally blame umpires, a ton of missed calls in this game today. But obviously, Jonathan Aranda back is the big story. How the 1 through 5 in this lineup of Chandler Simpson, Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lowe, Junior Caminero, Jonathan Aranda next year, you could even throw Jake Mangum into that, is legit, and that's a starting lineup, a first 5 that is I'll put up with kind of any other first 5 in baseball. Like, that is a legit first 5. I say that as Yandy and Chandler come out to go 0 for 9 today. But over the course of a 162-game season, I really love that first 5. I was pretty surprised that Houser went 6 innings. I think that kind of factors into the plans for next year. But I do think there are a lot of positives to take away from this game. We're going to look ahead at the game tomorrow. But first, let's talk about one Jonathan Aranda.
This is what you'll be talking about.
We don't give many player of the games for losses. We're going to do it tonight because I thought Jonathan Aranda was fantastic.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Even versus that really tough lefty at the end that he faced, he's just a professional hitter. Of course, first at bat, he's back, just nails a home run, 391 feet, 108 off the bat. And he gets on base 2 other times. And that at bat he had in the 8th inning was just such a professional at bat against a lefty, a tough lefty at that. Didn't overcompensate, didn't freak out. Saw a lot of really tough pitches. That slider from that arm slot from that lefty is a tough one to leave off as many times as he did. And Jonathan Aranda is just a professional hitter. And it really makes you think, what would have been different about this Rays team if he didn't get hurt? Because there were many games where I was like, man, and baseball is the ultimate team sport. But there are so many games like, man, I mean, you would really use Jonathan Aranda's bat in that lineup right now, hitting 4th, hitting 3rd, hitting 2nd, right? And I don't think Jonathan Aranda is going to be hitting 5th much, or I guess maybe he will. I'd like that spot more for Junior. Junior put up some really good numbers when he was hitting 5th. But I definitely want to talk about Jonathan Aranda because he continues to be one of the most underrated hitters in all of baseball. So I have to shout out Jonathan Aranda for sure. And it says a lot to the competitor and the person he is that he wanted to come back. There's only 3 games left. It doesn't matter. I want to come back. I want to be here for that team, for my team. I mean, that really speaks to the type of person competitor he is. I'm glad that he'll be wearing a Rays jersey for a very, very long time. But let's talk more about the game as, again, the Rays went back-to-back. Junior, 1 home run away from Carlos Pena, 2 games left. I expect he'll be swinging home run power as if he already does it, but that home run type swing every single time this next 2 games, as he should, as he goes for the record. And then obviously back-to-back with Aranda. But, the 2nd inning was tough. But, my turning point has to go to the 9th inning when the Rays have a chance to tie it.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I go back, and the umpire didn't wholly affect this game, but man, that ball that he called a strike to Fiducia that was like 6 feet off the plate, that was a little bit ridiculous. Had one of those Yandy and Chandler as well. But you have Yandy Diaz, your best hitter, up with a chance to tie the game with a single, and he grounds out to 3rd. So there was a ton of opportunities for the Rays to hold the Blue Jays. The Rays got the lead, and immediately the next inning it's tied. And I thought Houser did a good job battling, 7 hits, 2 walks. But, the Rays had their chances. They had their chance in the 8th with a runner on 2nd. They had their chance in the 9th to tie the game with 2 runners in scoring position. Outside of that, man, 6th and 7th, not really much doing. Same thing. In the 5th, they got another runner to 2nd to try to cut him this lead, but just couldn't do it. So, 3 innings after that 2nd inning, the Rays got the runner scoring position and just couldn't get it done. Couldn't get that big hit. We've said that a lot in Rays losses this year. They just couldn't get that big hit. So unfortunately fall victim of that tonight. But again, there's a lot of positives that I take away from this game when I'm looking ahead to next year. Because when you look at this lineup, and it's weird when you look back a year ago and see how many people aren't on the roster anymore. These first 5 will be on the roster. Chandler Simpson, Yanni Diaz, Brandon Lau, Junior Caminero, and Jonathan Aranda will be on the roster next year. That you can pencil in those 5 anywhere you want in the lineup. And Josh Lowe is hitting, God, he's down 222. Rough year for Josh Lowe. But again, if Josh Lowe is hitting 7th, I take that. That takes all the pressure off him. That just lengthened out the lineup so much. You don't have to ask Josh Lowe to hit 2nd, right, and put all the pressure on him. If he's hitting 7th, it just really takes the pressure off. Jake Mangum again hitting 6th. It's gonna be interesting to see if they roll out Chandler Simpson and Jake Mangum, both guys combining for 3 home runs, and all those home runs came from Jake Mangum. So I don't know if you can roll out a lineup that lacks that kind of power night in and night out, but you're going to pencil in those first 5 for 140 games next year. Fingers crossed everyone stays healthy. And those are the type of things late in the season that you want to see. When you look ahead to next year, and again, next year should be playoffs or bust for the Rays. I mean, I guess every year should, but specifically next year. When you look ahead, you say, okay, we're going to have McClanahan, we're going to have Rasmussen, we're going to have Pepio. Those are going to be our top 3 starters. We know who our top 5 in the lineup is. That makes it really easy under the new ownership and still with Eric Neander there to build around that. You know who your top 5 in the bullpen is going to be. It's going to be Jackson. It's going to be Clevenger. It's going to be Fairbanks. It is going to be Uceta. It's going to be Baker, right? And to have your top 5 in your order, your top 5 in your bullpen, your top 3 in your rotation set before you even go into the offseason, I mean, not a lot of teams can say that. So I think the Rays should have immense confidence, not only from this game, but just from the production that group of 13 players has put out over, not this year from Cleveland, but over the course of his career and the rest during this year. And I know Pete's been bad during times. I know Uceta's been bad during times. I know Jack's been bad during times. Same with Baker. But it's going to happen over a course of 162 game season, especially for relievers. But that is stuff to take away when you have 13 guys that you're really solid with. Like if any of those guys aren't on the roster next year, I would be very surprised. Maybe outside of Pete Fairbanks if they trade that contract. But again, I would be surprised if Pete Fairbanks was on the Rays next year. I'd be surprised if any of that core was. Right? That's your core. If you want to throw Carson Williams into that, the only reason why I'm not including him in that is because I don't know if Carson Williams is going to be the opening day shortstop next year. If you had to tell me, is your money on him being the opening day shortstop, I would lean yes, but it's like 51-49 because he's hitting a $165 and he's still striking out a ton. Today he struck out another 3 times. I just don't know if the bat's MLB ready. But outside of that, man, those 13 guys. There's a really good group to start building around. But we'll talk about Adrian Houser and some more positives take away from this right after this. This episode is brought to you by Rougiet. You've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to make Rougiet go long. And it's where Rougiet goes long comes in. It is not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula, so you can get hard and go the distance. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure to use the code so they know that we sent you. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. And NFL season is here. Make sure, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can match just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use the app. That is free money. And FanDuel is the best to use. They have the best same-game parlays. You can do in-game parlays. You can do player props. They just have the best of everything. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Again, if you guys are in the live, make sure you leave a like and comment. We'll be getting to the comments momentarily. Let's talk about Adrian Houser. And I think the fact that he went 6 innings, he's the only starter I think that's going to do that, maybe outside of Seymour. We'll see what they do with Boyle. But Pepio short outing, Boz short outing, Rasmussen short outing. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe that says Adrian Houser, maybe you're not in our plans for next year. Again, he is a free agent. I would lean that the Rays probably don't re-sign him. Or maybe it's all strictly just in anything. So coming into this outing, Adrian Houser has thrown just 50 innings. 50 innings with the Rays, 119 innings. So he ended up going 125 innings, the second most in his career. But I know the Rays really loved that 150 mark. So maybe because they thought he was under that 150 mark, he was good to go 6 innings. It could also just be that. But, got into trouble in the first, second, and the fifth. And, excuse me, it all costed him. But, 5 strikeouts, the 7 hits is a little bit worrisome. But over the bulk of Houser's time here, if we look at his stats before this game of just with this time with the Rays, he had a 4.6 ERA, which isn't great, but a lot of that is front-loaded. Or you guys remember, like against the Cardinals when the Rays were up a ton, there was like a Steinbrenner porch 3-run home run to kind of feed into that. From the eye test, Adrian Houser passed the eye test. If he's back on this team next year, not a lot I'd be mad at. But let's go ahead and look at the game tomorrow as the Rays will attempt to continue to try to play spoiler to these Toronto Blue Jays. It's going to be Joe Boyle versus Trey Yasevich, who shoved the last time out against the Rays. He's had 2 starts. One, he gave up 4 runs against the Royals over 4 innings. The other one, he went 5 innings, 1 earned against the Rays. So, the Rays are seeing him for the second time. He has that funky release point, and, that would give me trouble if I was a hitter, for example. But I know it would tend to give some Rays fans trouble, Rays players trouble. But again, is Junior going to get to 46? Is Yandy, Chandler, and Jake Mangum going to hit 300? Is Chandler going to drag down Cabby to lead the league in steals? Still a lot to watch for over these next 2 games. But let's go ahead and get to the comments. We'll go to Gary first. Said Junior Caminero 1 home run away from tying Carlos Pena single-season home run record, and the returning Jonathan Aranda hits 1 as well. But the Rays fall short. They will now exceed last year's loss total. Yeah, unfortunately, because I think this year's team is better than last year's. And it's just like in Baltimore. They've lost more games that they should have won than the other way around. And that really bakes in. Now, with that, do the Rays still make the playoffs? No. But I think they're 3 back right now instead of 9 back. Like, I really think there's 6 games that the Rays honestly should have won. And then you look at that, things start to look a little bit different. The Rays finish 83-79, instead. And I think that's more of the kind of the spot that the Rays are in. We'll go back to Gary. Says, wild night in baseball. The Red Sox come from behind to beat the Tigers. Guardians lose, but still lead the Central. Yankees win in the NL. The Mets lose. Reds, Diamondbacks are winning. It's crazy stuff. All this is crazy. What's going on in baseball right now is crazy, to be completely honest with you. This is turning up to be kind of like that 2011 with Evan Longoria kind of last weekend of the season. So, yeah, the Mets own that tiebreaker. So, look, they're going to be tied in the standings with the Reds with 2 games to play and everything on the line. And then, obviously, the Tigers, a huge missed opportunity to go take back first place in the Central. And then the Guardians, man. If I'm a Mariners fan, if I'm a Blue Jays fan, if I'm a Yankees fan, if I'm a Red Sox fan, I am begging to play the Indians. My gosh, they haven't been the Indians for so long. I'm begging to play the Guardians and maybe not the Tigers in a 3-game series because of Scooble. You basically not concede game 1, but man, that's a tough ass to beat Scooble game 1. But I would love to face the Guardians. If you're telling me if the Mariners, who are going to be that third that third division winner, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that. But let's say the Mariners are the third division winner, and let's say Cleveland ends up losing the last 2 games, and the Tigers come up and win the Central. And if you're the Mariners, I don't think you're like, oh gosh, we have to play Cleveland. I think you're saying, we got to play Cleveland. So the Mariners are a game and a half back of the Blue Jays. So if the Blue Jays win tomorrow, they not only clinch the AL East, they also clinch the best record in the American League, which is big for them. Boston clinched the playoff spot tonight as well. So 3 AL East teams. AL East continues to be the best division in the American League, to say the least. So yeah, it's been just a crazy end to all this. As we go, Doug Bautista says, these are all good reps for Carson. I know it can be painful to watch him go through it. This process might not be ready until 2027, similar when Junior came up 2023 and was ready this year. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I really don't. And the reason why Junior didn't come up earlier in 2024 is because he was hurt. So, but when you watch Junior, you saw more of that like it factor, and you still see it with Carson, right? You see the power, and just from the power alone, you could argue he has more upside than Taylor Walls. Just from that, if you get this Carson Williams and that Taylor Walls without any improvement, you could really argue that. But yeah, look, if Carson Williams is the shortstop for 150 some games next year, I don't know if you're looking at the Rays saying, oh yeah, they're a legit contender, just because the strikeouts are there and the strikeouts are not great. So Taylor Walls still ended up playing over 100 games this year, and he hit 220. And I said if Taylor Walls can hit 220, and because of the defense he plays, he's going to be in the MLB for a very long time. Let's go to Gary. Says implementation of the ABS system 2026. Important clarification. Only the batter, pitcher, or catcher can call for a challenge, not the manager or pitching coach. Only 2 challenges allowed per game. The Rays would want a few challenges tonight. Yeah, I do like that is getting called in the game. I'm one that loves the human element of baseball and the umps and stuff, but at the end of the day, we got to get it right. And big calls like at end of the games, like what's tonight, we have to get those right. So we'll wrap it there, guys. Only 2 postcasts left. Just crazy to think about. We're wrapping up. It's crazy. If you guys are on the live, please make sure you leave a like. If you guys are watching the replay, leave a like and comment as well. Just 2 of these left, guys. Got to treasure every single one of these because, we're going to be missing. We're going to be missing Rays baseball. We're going to miss screaming at Pete Fairbanks in the 9th inning and when he gets the bases loaded, but eventually gets out of it. But we're going to miss that coming in a few months. So treasure these, and I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon.